Hello, I'm Avery or Hazel or Kylie. You can just pick one, I don't care.
Hello, I am Lily.
And welcome to the From the Closet podcast. Today we are covering The Dragon Prince, Book 1, Moon. Obviously, this podcast will contain spoilers for this show. Uh, if you'd like to avoid those spoilers, you will find a link in the description below to the Just Watch page for this series, um, which itself will have links to every platform you can rent, purchase, or stream this series on. Although,
That includes Netflix,
yeah, and
and
like,
probably just Netflix.
yeah, unless you're like from the future and Netflix is shut down and they're licensing out their content to third parties, which I can see happening in the next few years if Netflix decides to keep shooting themselves in the foot, but that's a whole separate issue. Uh,
I mean, they could just shut down. Not
yeah,
everything is lucky as Sega.
yeah, unfortunately, if they don't go the way of Sega, that's a lot of lost media.
Yeah, it would be unfortunate, but, well, it doesn't have to be lost. They could just, not make more content, and they just sell all of their, remaining content, so they don't lose too much money.
But regardless, you'll also find a link in the description below to our Patreon where you can vote on future episodes of this show, as well as get access to episodes before they release, as well as early access to episodes of our sister show, Off the Shelf, which is about books. And that podcast is exclusive to YouTube and Patreon. Also, in the description, you will find a link to Anchor.fm, which is now Spotify for podcasters. That page will have links to every platform that this podcast is on, as well as links to our Instagram and Twitter. If you would like to support us but cannot do so financially, the best way is to listen to us on Spotify. You may join us next week for fucking something. We don't know what it is yet at the time of recording this, and Inhumans, which I'm really still not looking forward to. Uh, and then
But Avery, remember, it's only one season, in and out, and we don't have to think about it ever again.
I do have to think about it ever again because I'm planning to do a massive MCU binge in chronological order.
Right, I don't have to think about it ever again.
Yeah. But what was I on? Oh, right. You can join us next month for the Seven Deadly Sins season 3, and the month after that
Yeah.
for the Dragon Prince book 2. I don't remember the title of book 2.
Or Seven Deadly Sins, what was it called? The Seven Commandments
10.
story arc.
You mean the 10 Commandments?
Yeah, this Ten Commandments. I don't know, some of them could have died along the way. They haven't, but
But anyway, with all that being said, please get out if you would like to avoid the spoilers, because we're gonna,
the spooky spoilers.
yeah, spooky spoilers that send shivers down your spine. But,
Okay, I'm just glad that you understood my reference.
but regardless, get out if you want to avoid them, because we're gonna start talking about the series now. Okay, so
So Avery's been making me, like, wanting to make me watch this, and I can't actually remember how long it's been.
pretty much since around the end, like around when season 3 dropped,
Hmm. How
because
long ago was
I
that?
don't know. It's been a couple of years because it took them a long ass time to release season 4. And now I believe they have confirmed the release date for season 5. I don't know what it is because I haven't looked. I just know that they've confirmed it.
Yeah, there's a very big chance that we have to stop at season 4
Yeah,
or season 5.
very real. And from what I know, this show is supposed to get a total of 7 seasons. Um, so, like,
I mean, of course, there's a very real chance that we just stop at 5 and Netflix says, Hey, remember that sixth season? Wouldn't it be funny if we just canceled it?
If Netflix cancels The Dragon Prince, I'm gonna be fucking furious.
I've already been disappointed by Netflix. Nothing can phase me at this point.
But yeah, so The Dragon Prince, I initially came to it, like, the thing that piqued my interest on this show was probably the thing that's piqued a lot of people's interest coming to this show. Seeing, oh, this show's creator and an executive producer is Aaron Ehasz, the writer for Avatar The Last Airbender. And the main character is voiced by Jack DeSena, the actor who played Sokka in Avatar The Last Airbender. I mean, there's a pretty good reason why a decent chunk of this show's fan base is like also Avatar fans.
Really? I thought it was just because it also had elements.
I mean, kind of. There's like 6 primal sources of magic, and I'm going to attempt to try to remember them all. I think it's sun, moon, earth, wind, sea, and sky. Um, I think that's
You're
it.
forgetting Star.
I don't think star was one of them.
I'm pretty sure Stars was one of them, and didn't you only say 5?
I said 6: sun, moon, earth, wind, sea, and sky.
Huh. I
Wind might
swear
not
that there's.
wind might not be one of them. I can't remember.
Oh yeah, because wind is counted as storm. One of the storm ones was literally just wind.
I don't know. I'll have to hear it again at some point.
Or me just looking it up.
Uh, and then, like, of course, in this show, we learn that humans have discovered the 7th source of magic, which is killing magical beings and using their life force as magic, which is known as dark magic. And it
Okay. Sorry. I'll let you finish your thought.
and yeah, that's the thing that has created the divide, and all of that is just backstory. Like, it's created the divide. All the humans were pushed off to the west, and then the humans they go and they kill the king of the dragons who was defending the border, and they also destroy his egg, who is supposed to be the only heir. And all of that is just the backstory to this show. Okay, so now say what you were gonna say.
The elements are sunfire, earth, stars, moon, dark, sky, and ocean. From fucking Tinkercad, I
I'm
guess.
sorry, say those
Yeah,
again?
they probably have. Okay, I'm actually just gonna say their canon names because. Um. Moon, sky, sun, earth, ocean, stars, and dark magic.
Okay, so I don't know if it's even really fair to like count dark, because it's just like it shouldn't exist, and I don't even think you can make a primal stone of dark
Probably not.
unless
But
unless that's something that happens in season 4. But I haven't seen season 4. I couldn't tell you. But then again, it's not like we see primal stones of the other elements in 2 and 3. So
um so and there's a reason why I looked that up.
why is
Because
that?
when I was watching it, I did have a question about all these types of magic. Ocean makes sense, right? You know, you have the storm, all of that makes sense. But tell me, what the hell are stars?
I have no idea what like magic derived from stars would be. I don't think it was ever explored in seasons 2 or 3.
Hmm.
I do,
I
but
guess it's just like a setup for something later.
yeah, I think that's probably what it is. I do believe we do deal with like uh people who get magic from the sun at some point. Um, but like the sun is a separate magic source, even though it's a star.
Don't ask too many questions.
Yeah, it makes sense just as soon as you stop thinking about it. But yeah, I think I personally I very much enjoy the show, and it's not just like oh me fooling myself into enjoying it because there are Avatar people involved. Because I mean, there's Avatar people involved in like a lot of other stuff too.
I don't. I mean, it's not like if an Avatar person went into politics, I'd be suddenly interested in that.
Yeah, I mean it's like just no. But okay, we're back after some technical difficulties. But as I was saying, yeah, there are things that like I genuinely love about this. It does feel like it kind of for a while it felt like it was gonna kind of have the same like narrative structure as Avatar: The Last Airbender, where like
Hmm.
our main character would learn all the different types of magic. But I like after having seen seasons 2 and 3, I very much do not think that's going to be the case. They would have to really rush it. They mostly have him still doing sky magic.
Ah. Yeah. Um. I mean, I guess it makes sense. Well, I mean, to progress, probably shouldn't have destroyed that stone. Who knows when the next time you're gonna get another chance to get what are they called?
Primal Stone. And Primal
Yeah,
Stones are rare, but they're not necessarily the only ways a human can do magic from one of the 6 primal sources.
hmm.
That's all
And
I will
what
say because I don't want to spoil things.
and what about elves? What can they just are they just born magical in like one of the primal elements?
I mean, that's kind of what it seems like. But in order to do things like uh, what we see Callum doing, you'd have to train for it. Like, Rayla can't just go and start casting moon magic spells. She's not a mage.
I see.
I mean, she could learn if she wanted to, but her training is in, like, combat, practical combat. So,
Interesting. But she's aligned with the Moon Mage, the Moon Alliance.
the moon, I think they have a term for it. I think the term is arcanum.
Ah, I don't know why, but
Um,
I like the Moon Alliance.
I I think arcanum is the word. I could be wrong, and I also don't think it was said at any point in this season.
And of course,
So
so our dragon is Storm.
yeah, like
This is a
sky
Storm
related.
dragon. Yeah.
It's, yeah, sky dragon, which apparently can only be born during a storm. So there's that.
And we have our main characters have to return this back to its mother to stop a catastrophic war.
Yeah, and it has to be them. Like it's something Rayla pointed out that I really appreciated was that like she could realistically take the egg and return it to like the dragon's mother like without Callum and Ezrin being involved, but the gesture would mean so much more if they are involved.
Yeah, I mean, this is not just the prince, but should be king.
Yeah, in fact you
Though,
could go ahead.
though of course, should be. Is there someone else back in their kingdom saying, wait a minute, I want to be king?
Okay, yeah, well, we're talking about Ezran here. Ezran is king, because that's just how monarchies work. Like, the moment the reigning monarch dies, the next person in line is the monarch. In this case, Ezran, he's king, just period. It doesn't matter if a coronation hasn't happened yet, he is king immediately. Um, there are actual cases where a monarch has died before they could even be crowned. Um, I believe this was the case for Edward V in England.
Hmm.
Uh, so that's just a thing. That's how it works. Um, but yeah, like Ezran's currently busy a dr- trying to deliver another prince to another nation.
Damn, I hate escort missions.
Yeah. Uh, do you think escorts hate escort missions?
Why would you say that? You have the chance to not say that, but you said that instead.
But yeah, like I very much find like the magic system enjoyable here. I also love that like just like Avatar: The Last Airbender, this show tries to actually have like good representation of like um people with disabilities because we have someone who they refer to as their aunt. I'm not sure that she actually is their aunt. Um, but
Probably not.
but she is mute. I'm not sure if she's like actually deaf or not. But she for sure is mute. Oh wait, no, she's
She.
definitely deaf because she
Hmm.
tells Callum that yelling doesn't help. So yeah, and
Wait, how does that make her deaf?
because like she's reading his lips and yelling would not. Yelling is actually pretty bad for people who read lips. It makes it harder.
I mean, I just assumed the sentiment was like how you would just respond to a Karen. Like, yelling will not make anything go easier or faster.
No, I think it was very clear. It was just like a whole thing of like she's reading his lips and yelling doesn't help it at all. That
Not like yelling has ever helped.
yelling does help very often. It just doesn't help with reading lips. It makes it awful. So
Like, doesn't help with your retail worker.
same with talking slowly. Talking slowly is also really bad for people who read lips.
Hmm, makes sense. I'm just saying, in a practical standpoint, especially in that conversation, doesn't matter if you yell, still doesn't get any points across easier, better.
Sometimes yelling can help you get your point across, especially if people are constantly cutting you off and not listening.
The person you're talking to is deaf. I don't think, or
Yes,
deaf or
in this specific situation, and that's the point I'm trying to get across, though. In this specific situation, she's referring to the fact that she is reading his lips, and that yelling is not helping her do that.
I
Moving
was just trying to
on.
make a mention on how a bunch of Karens think yelling will make them get a free meal.
Yeah, well, no. Obviously, no sane person genuinely thinks that.
They're not sane, though.
Yes, that's the point I was making.
Speaking about not sane people, sorry, who's the name of that corrupt person that just can't wait to be king?
Simba.
Wrong person.
Yeah, it's Viren. Um, and I think he's a pretty interesting villain here.
So we were talking a little bit afterwards. In fact, this is exactly what I um when you answered my call, the first thing I said to you. But like he totally looks like the Fire Emblem Awakening like main enemy, right?
I wouldn't say that's the main
And
enemy
the
of Fire Emblem Awakening, but I do know who you're referring to. You're referring to Valadar.
or at least the person in the prologue.
Yeah, Valadar. Um,
At the very least, at the end of the series, he totally looks like him.
at the end of this season, yeah.
Oh yeah, and the end of the season. Sorry, why did I say series? I haven't seen the series.
Yeah. Very much, very much some similarities there. I mean, like Valadar and Virion are both dark mages as well. So, um,
Yeah, but in Fire Emblem, being a dark mage is more or less accepted.
kind of.
You're also a little bit crazy if you do it as well, but you know.
Yeah. Like, I don't know. Like the two dark mages in Awakening that actually joined the player's party, like Tharia and Henry, they're definitely both insane. So,
I don't know what you mean. Henry has to be the most not insane, the most credible person and not murderous person I've ever met.
yes, the dude who has a thirst for blood and travels around with a flock with a murder of crows. Yeah, totally sane.
Yeah, his crit quote is literally, "I'm gonna kill you."
Yeah, so like, yeah, he's definitely sane. He
Absolutely. He
also loves deflecting curses and increasing their power uh, against like the person who like originally cast the curse. So I don't know. I don't know if I would describe him as sane.
Yeah, that's the same person if I've ever seen one. What a great role model.
But yeah, Viren is a very intimidating villain. I do really love like that he he's kind of going off the deep end and he's telling his kids to do certain things, and I genuinely do like his kids as characters. Um, I find them interesting because you get the sense that like they're like saying to their dad that they'll do what he says, but like at the same time you can tell they're not 100% on board with it, and you definitely don't get the sense that they're actually going to do what he says when it comes down to it. Like you just know they're not going to do it.
I wonder what his plan was from the beginning. Like, because so his original plan was to swap the king's body with someone else so the king can stay safe.
Yep. And then what?
I mean, I guess you could say that like this random person that claims to be king is a traitor. Kill him.
Possibly.
Like that's where I thought this was going. Like
But the
if he got his way.
the king chooses the honorable path and like chooses to like die with dignity and atone for like the shit that he's done. Cause like
Though I wonder if like the king declining him is what really brought him down this path.
that's also possible.
So I mean, it's really hard to tell.
I would say if anything, it's the king like telling him to like know his place and kneel down. Like he really did not. I don't think he really liked being humbled like that.
No,
Yeah, like that. That had to be a massive blow to his ego. Um, but yeah, I don't know. Like definitely find him to be interesting. Claudia, I think, is the more interesting of the two children. Um, I think you probably feel the same way about those two.
Yes, however, I wish the other one, again, I'm terrible at names.
Soren.
Yeah, I wish Soren was better because that introduction is just not what his character was.
A dork.
Yeah, no, his introduction, I believe, like his entire appearance in his the first episode is just not what he is the rest of the season.
Agreed.
Like he goes out on a horse and be like, no, don't. He even takes on that don't follow me. We are going to kill the elves. And then every appearance after that, it just seemed like just so 180.
I don't know if it's a complete 180. I feel like
Fine, it's a
he
90 degrees.
I feel like it's one of those things where it's like, oh yeah, you can be more confident and cocky against someone who's younger and smaller than you. I feel like that's where Soren is.
But he just sounds so pathetic. And like especially like when talking to his father, he sounds dumb. Like that comic relief character. But I don't want him to be that comic relief character. I want him to be that confident mentor character.
I really don't think he would be a good mentor character just
At
because
least try to.
I don't think that's where his character arc should go. Um, because I feel like it's very obvious this show wants to go the route of like these two characters realizing that their father is a horrible, demented person and breaking out of that environment. Um, though to be fair, you do have there is a point to be made that I don't think this show has any character that can really be described as the mentor character. Like
No, yeah.
Avatar the Last Airbender had Iroh, and that was like he was like the main one. Really no one for our heroes. Um,
No, well.
yeah, it's just whatever in my eyes. I really love Rayla. I think Rayla's a fantastic, interesting character. She's an assassin, and like the mission that we see her going on in like the first episode is supposed to be her first mission. She has never killed anyone, and when it comes time to do it, she finds that she doesn't want to. And
And that intro is like when we get introduced to all of the like all of the elves taking their oath or whatever. It's really like we we take life, but we don't do it lightly. Yeah, where was that to it's a very slippery slope to we do not take life lightly to let's kill a kid.
yeah, it that's also another element to it. It's like you know that when she finds out, like I love how they handle like showing us characterization early because you already know by the time she meets Ezrin, like even before, you already know before then that as soon as she finds out who Ezrin is, she's not gonna kill him.
I mean, she wants to. Well,
Yeah, but you already know she's
for the
not
job.
going to. Yeah, but you already know she's not going to.
Though, I mean, nothing could prepare you for that shock of what happens next.
Yeah, when the egg of the Dragon Prince is revealed to have not been destroyed, but stolen.
That could
And
repair a few things, a few relationships.
yeah, especially if the two princes of this human kingdom, Catullus, I believe is the name of it, can take the egg to Zadia and return it to its mother.
Though that's not if before an evil dark mage decides to run the kingdom into the ground.
We'll certainly see. But yeah, I find Rayla to be an interesting character, and I had mentioned this to you before we started recording, but
Hmm.
one interesting detail that I loved noticing my second time through, like I knew that Rayla was scared of water, and there is a point in episode 2 where she's on her way to the castle and she has to like hop on some like rocks to get across a river, and before she does, she hesitates. And that is a
Hmm.
small attention to detail that could have been left out, but I love that it's there.
We do love attention to detail.
Yeah. I also love just like teasing us like with little other things. Um like they talk about like they go to this one town and there's this character with a sunforge blade created by sunfire elves. And
Hmm.
yet like they actually say it was created by a sunfire elf. But we've never seen sunfire elves and we don't see them for the rest of the season.
Correct.
So this is a nice little thing to tease us with for future uh, for future seasons, and I think that's pretty good. Um, I
But you know
also
what's
love how
interesting about that entire interaction?
what's that?
That person had a weapon forged by an elf,
Yes,
but obviously doesn't trust elves.
uh-huh,
That's the end of my thought.
yeah. It was also worth noting that the Sunforge blade couldn't cut Rayla's binding.
Hmm.
Even
The
though
dragon could though.
yeah, like the dragon could, and thankfully that ended up happening, or else she was gonna lose a hand eventually. I mean, you can clearly see that thing cutting off circulation for a while.
Oh yeah.
And realistically, if she were human, that hand would probably already be dead. But obviously, elvish anatomy works differently, so
But
I don't
except
know.
it's never explained how it works, so it can just say oh yeah, it works differently.
Yeah, I guess that's all the explanation we really need. It's just like, yeah, okay, sure. But I love seeing Callum like learning magic. I love the humor in this show, especially when like Callum's like making the plan for what to do about the monsters on the cursed caldera.
It's interesting that okay, I do have something to say about my knowledge of just pets in general. Because there was a reveal on like the final episode where the person that healed the little dog just made an illusion.
Yeah,
Dogs can absolutely adapt and just do just as well with only three legs.
yeah, but this is something we know like these days, and this show is
Mhm.
set in like a medieval era, and also Ava's not a dog, Ava's a wolf.
As something I wanted to say,
Yeah,
they
like
actually adapt surprisingly fast.
Yeah, and you definitely feel for like the situation that's going on here. Also, Ava's fucking huge. Like
Yeah.
like Ava's a wolf that's big enough for humans to ride on her. So like what the hell?
Yeah, the only unrealistic part about that is could you really have a human riding on you with three legs? But I mean, I guess if you're just strong as hell, sure, why
Let
not?
al- let alone two humans because there were several scenes where that happened.
Yeah. I mean, I guess you've grown up while being a dog that can ride. It just expected that you're strong as hell.
Yeah, but I don't know. Like I find the show's humor funny. I want to say there's more to that cube that they picked up at the Banther Lodge, um, but I can't
It's
remember.
well, obvious. It's clearly not just a what is? It's clearly not just a children's toy.
Yeah, like Rayla originally first thought. I
It
definitely also it's worth commenting. It's clear that there is some chemistry going on between Callum and Rayla, but it's not quite on the level that we see chemistry in a lot of other shows.
no, it's definitely slow if anything.
Yeah,
It's like a nice slow post. Fuck, slow roast.
slow burn.
I mean,
That's
I was going for the cooking reference, but sure.
yeah. Well, it's really good. The way they're handling it is great. I will say I feel like at some point they do kind of go a bit fast with it, but they at least start out with it pretty slow.
I do love how back at the lodge when a bunch of like knights stormed everything, it cuts back to her and saying that um just mocking him.
Yeah, and her impression is spot on. I also
Oh,
love. Speaking of her impressions, I fucking love human Rayla.
okay, there's actually if there's like one joke I want to complain about, and
What?
I'm only complaining about it because I just remembered it. It's not even about the joke, it's like how little that cut in was necessary. There's a cut into what the two siblings were doing, made a fart joke, then cut right back.
I don't remember there being a fart joke.
No, it's like the it was the horse. Like the brother blamed it on the horse. Like the sister's like, oh, that wasn't the horse.
I don't remember that.
I only bring it up. It's just I can deal with a fart joke, okay? But that cut, like cut in, cut out, was just so unnecessary.
Yeah, I feel like I've said it like 4 times already, but I don't remember that.
I know it happened. I'm not crazy. You are.
I never said you were crazy.
I'm just confirming I'm not crazy.
Uh huh. Sure, that's what you're doing.
Absolutely.
So like the choice to destroy the primal stone, it's certainly it's certainly a very big one there, but like it had to be done, and they
I mean,
do
you
let
could
you.
have alerted someone, like, hey, I'm gonna break this stone now. Maybe you should, like, make sure the egg doesn't go flying off.
Yeah, and they do let you think for a second that it failed, and then they're like, okay, yeah, now the egg's hatching.
Yeah, I mean, at the very. the moment I saw, like, I knew it was gonna hatch.
All right, so they do leave in a very interesting setup here for season two. Claudia and Soren now know where they are, or at least have a path to follow to get to our main heroes. The Dragon Prince's egg has hatched. Rayla no longer has the binding, so she's no longer going to lose her hand. And Callum cannot currently do magic.
I don't know. For whatever reason, I feel like they made her fighting ability too strong. It's like, ah, shit, we got a nerf.
Well, I mean, it was always meant to be a temporary nerf. I feel they're gonna like definitely allow her to actually be fighting now.
Yeah, or at least now that she can fight with two hands, which is what she was always meant to be.
Yeah, like her method of combat definitely does not work very well with one hand. But I will say I do fucking love like the whole joke of when like Callum is like coming up with the plan to deal with the monsters, and Rayla's like, "Yeah, no, that won't work. This is my slishing hand."
Oh my god, I love that. Though I do
Yeah,
love how it's like, wait a minute, she wasn't calling you a fool. She was saying something like foolite, foolamite, or whatever.
Fulminous.
Full a minute, yeah.
Still said it wrong.
Of course, because I didn't remember it.
No, I mean, like, even after I said fulminous, you still said it wrong.
Delay.
Yeah, but, I don't know. I think, that's another thing, too. Like, Callum has learned 2 spells by the end of this season. Only 2.
Hooray!
I feel like he's progressing slower than Luz.
Correct. Though magic does work significantly different.
Yeah, it's
Like,
significantly easier to learn in the world of the Owl House.
I mean, and also the fact that magic doesn't. Magic just requires your hands and the ability to cast magic. Here, you need a fucking stone. Or, like, elements of whatever you're trying to cast.
Yeah,
Which is less like you casting the magic. Well, I mean, you don't have the magic, you're just directing the magic. Unlike dark magic, where you're creating the magic.
no, with dark magic, it's more like you're stealing the magic.
Yeah, I like creating it better. I like the word creating. Less like crimes, words of crime.
I mean, I think the entire point that this show is trying to get across to you is that dark magic is an affront to nature.
I mean, it could just be misunderstood.
You literally have to kill magical creatures to do it.
They were asking for it.
Now you're victim blaming.
What, me being a horrible monster? Who could have seen that coming?
Yeah, this just in, we need to cancel Lily.
On what? I don't use Twitter.
Cancel Lily on every platform.
Sure.
Yeah, but I don't know. I feel like they do the character and world building quite well in this first season. I will say it doesn't feel like there's a single goal that is meant to like that they're working towards in this season that actually gets resolved. Uh, Unless you want to say that the goal is get rid of Rayla's binding, but it never really felt like that was a. I don't know. It's kind of hard to explain. Like in Avatar: The Last Airbender, you had book one. The goal was let's get to the North Pole so Aang can learn waterbending, and like that's achieved in book one. I can't really pinpoint a single goal that they set out to do that gets achieved here.
stop the egg from dying?
I don't know, maybe, but that one's like kind of like the egg dying. Like that whole thing was set up in like episode 7 and then is resolved in episode 9.
Yeah, the entire thing about. I mean, I guess the entire point of this season was protect the egg, and then they failed. So they have to learn how to get the egg back into egg. Though they also failed with that and became dragon.
Yeah. So I don't know. It feels like they failed this entire season. Which, to be fair, Team Avatar failed at the end of book 2. So there's there's that.
I mean, there was the end of this season was a small victory.
Amongst a lot of failures.
There was quite a bit of failing, yes. Though
Yeah.
the last two seasons, like the last two episodes, there was not much failing, unless you count the magic ball having to be destroyed. There was that.
Yeah. It's called a primal stone.
Yeah, broke like glass though.
Yeah. I mean, for all we know, it might actually be made of glass. I don't know what it's made of.
I mean, looks like glass, broke like glass. My guess is glass.
Yeah, and later we're gonna find out it was fucking like made of chocolate or some shit.
You can literally see that storm.
Transparent magic chocolate.
I'm sorry. Didn't you say that they can hold like fire in there?
Magic chocolate.
I'm sorry. You put your hands on it, and that's just getting stuck to your hand.
Magic. I feel like
And
you're missing the word magic.
and also, why are you the one that's going to chocolate? You hate chocolate.
Yes, I do, but it was the first thing I could think of.
Jesus.
Yeah, but anyway, I think this show is really good so far. We're definitely going to have more to talk about in later seasons.
Yeah, except we've already gone like what? So the last recording was 10 minutes. 45 minutes.
Oh yeah, this was split into 2 parts, and I forgot that. uh, but anyway, like you want to like you just get into our ratings now?
Yeah, because we have no critic ratings.
Yeah, because we do those at the end of TV series. Oh God, that's going to be complicated because this is an ongoing series.
Oh yeah. Huh.
Yeah, we've
Oh
never done
well.
this before. This is the first time we're covering a series as it's ongoing. Um,
There's a reason why we tend to avoid this, but whatever.
yeah, it's tough, I guess. I think I'm gonna give this a 7.9. I don't
Hmm.
think it quite hits 8 level, but I think it's pretty good.
You're right. 7.7.
So, with all that being said, you can join us next week for Inhumans, next month for the Seven Deadly Sins Season 3, and then in 2 months for the Dragon Prince Book 2. I don't remember the title of Book 2, so sorry.
Sun.
Oh, is it Sun?
I
Interesting.
don't know, but that was like a really safe guess because of what you told me earlier.
I mean, it could be Sun. It could be something completely different. I don't remember what it was.
If it's Sun, call me a fucking genius.
No.
Aw.
But until then, I've been Avery, that's been Lily, and we will be seeing you.